All right.
Did we start?
We're starting right
This
now.
is very exciting. This is our very first podcast.
Very first at-home podcast.
At home podcast. We're doing this outside, by the way, and the painting that you see right behind me, we just put that there for a studio effect.
Yeah,
So,
that's a prop.
That's a prop. So
It's a real painting, though.
Yeah, it is. It is. I just want to let you know that's actually the Coconut Grove Art Festival 1992, which is when we bought this house, and our closing date was Hurricane Andrew. I tell that story all the time.
Well,
But-
next month's art festival again.
It is.
Very exciting. I
It
always
is. You can
love
buy
it.
tickets. It used to be free,
It used to be free. Remember
but
that?
now it's not. Now you have to pay.
And it's chaos.
It is chaos. It's absolute chaos, but they sell Budweiser beer. So that's always a big thing. So what are we going to talk about?
I
This is our
figured
first podcast
first podcast ever.
ever,
So,
outside of the ones that I do with Hal.
right, which today is a pregame.
Today we do. There's a pregame show.
So this is a pregame podcast to the podcast he's going to be on in about an hour.
Right, about an hour. And also, I want to let the audience know that we actually have not a guest, but an audience member.
Oh, yes, we do.
We do. We have somebody that's looking at us. She happens to be 88 years old, and she's having a good old time probably cussing us out because
She
we're
doesn't
interfering.
understand the equipment we have going on.
We're interfering in her outdoor activities. So, yeah. So, okay, so our first podcast, what do you want to talk about?
I think it's appropriate to talk about the beginning of the year.
It's been a very hectic year.
I wasn't sure how it was going to start off. I really wasn't.
Yeah,
But
it's been crazy.
It's been
super,
busy.
Yeah, it's been very, very busy. We actually had 6 or 7 transactions hit the market,
yep.
and we had that property that we listed over at not Abbotsar, but the one we had at Altera that went
Right.
nuts.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just been a crazy beginning of the year, and I think it's actually going to be an insane 22. I think it's going to stay
I feel
right
it.
after.
I feel it.
The impression that I've gotten from some of the folks coming down from the blue states has been like they are coming down just because they do not want to be in prison. And
Right.
they feel Florida is an open state. And that's
We
something
are?
that we one day will talk about.
One day, not today.
Not today.
Today. What
Because
are we talking
today we're just rambling on and see how this plays out.
Let's talk about something that we see a lot, but a lot of people don't understand.
Mhm.
Appraisal gaps.
Appraisal gaps, yeah. We have some appraisal gaps. Actually, most of the times right now we're getting some of the numbers hitting on some of the higher end stuff. I think some of the mid-range stuff is still having some
Tough.
suffering.
Yeah.
I think what's going to suffer too is some of the condominiums, that are hard to appraise, because if you're overreaching, you're not going to get that number simply because you can work, on some other properties that have sold.
Yeah.
So we have that listing that's coming up over in Icon,
Right.
and for the first time we've got numbers coming over 600, which is something that we were trying to get to.
Right.
And now they're starting to show, but yet all the sales and all of the pending sales are actually under 600,
Yeah.
and we're trying to reach for 600, so some of those numbers are. And my phone is ringing, which happens all the time. So there you go.
So you think we're on an upward trajectory
We're going to
for
be
2022?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I don't think we're going to go anywhere. I think high-end condos I think are going to suffer simply because they are they can't. They got tenants inside them, and we just
So
discussed
many
that.
tenants, yeah.
And then you can't
Everything
sell
has a
them.
tenant. Right. Everybody has a tenant inside of
everybody's
them.
got really
But they
true,
want
true.
to sell and get their money too.
Right.
So
All right. So what's our podcast going to be about? We're going to
We're-
talk
We
politicking, politics.
we can talk politics.
Yeah,
We could
so-
talk current events in Miami. We like
Okay.
to stay South Florida focused. That's
Yeah.
where we live.
Yeah.
This is where we'll. This
And
is where we'll be.
and we'll probably never have a guest. We'll just be yammering away ourselves.
We might have a
We
guest.
should. We put them right here in the middle.
Yeah, we
Okay,
might
we'll
have
put
a
'em-
guest.
we'll put a third person in the middle. But hopefully, what we will try to do is something that I want to do. Is I want to try to get when we do these podcasts, we want to make sure that we show how political decisions and
Influence.
how a lot of things that are happening out there, even locally or nationally, affect how our real estate market works. And we just touched on it. Because of blue states being so anti, with the COVID mandates,
Right.
you're starting to see a lot of people coming down here because they want to be in a state that promotes basically a little, pro-business,
Yeah.
pro-freedom. And that's why Texas is going through a big
The
boom.
boom,
We're
yeah.
going through a huge boom. And
I hear Tennessee is a little rowdy up
Tennessee,
there
yeah,
too.
Tennessee is also, and I think that's one of the things that we're seeing, that how political or how local political moves in blue states affect how people are relocating down. And
Yeah.
it's been a boom for us.
It's more than a boom, I think, for Miami. You
Yeah.
see a lot of the new construction buildings by the Metro
yeah.
Rail. They're encouraging people to get rid of the cars,
Yeah.
which is
Not
hard.
gonna happen.
It's not going to happen. But
Ain't
for
gonna
the
happen.
New Yorkers coming down who are
Yeah,
used to not having
yeah,
cars,
yeah.
it might work out.
But where are they going to go? They're still going to go to the same place.
Downtown?
Downtown. It doesn't go anywhere. Listen, when we built that thing, I remember when that was being built. By the way, as a kid, I used to walk on the original train tracks.
So that was a train track.
That was a train track. That was part of the Florida East Coast Railway. They used to bring all of the citrus up from Homestead up to, back then it was called Lemon City, where South Miami is.
That's Lemon City.
Yeah, that was Lemon City, or Lemon City is a little bit further down.
Right.
So that's one of the things that that railway did, and then they turned it into the Metro Rail.
Nice.
Yeah.
And now they have the underline being
That's gonna
built
be the
under
yeah,
it.
Yeah. And then we're going to have underdeck underneath the the 395, which is going to be a big
Yes.
deal. So that new big spider, it's going to be the Spider Bridge, by the way. That's what it's going to be called. It's
Spider
gonna,
Bridge?
Yeah, it's going to look like spider.
That's what we'll refer to it
Yeah,
as.
that's what it's going to be, the Spider Bridge. And that will have underneath the underdeck, which will be a linear park also,
A park.
just so you know.
Restaurants
That's
or
how we
anything?
know.
Or?
No, you'll have little pods.
No pods.
Yeah, so
Okay.
little pods and stuff like that. I told them to build affordable housing underneath it.
They didn't listen to you.
No, because you can't, because FDOT, the state of Florida, doesn't want anything underneath those buildings.
I
or
kind of
those-
appreciate them for that.
Yeah, I think that was a smart move, but that was my idea. It didn't go anywhere. A lot of my ideas don't go anywhere, but that's fine. Flying cars has got a potential.
You think so?
Yeah, so it's- I
you
think that's
think
got some
Miami
potential.
traffic would be
Fly-
any better
Wouldn't
in
that
the
be
air?
exciting?
I think it would be just
That
as
would be
bad
the
just
best.
flying.
That would be the best. That would be absolutely amazing. Throw drones into the, I think it would be just beautiful chaos. I won't see it in my lifetime. You will see it maybe in your lifetime.
Maybe.
So that's it. Oh, by the way, who are we?
What do you mean, who are we?
Yeah, who are we? There was like no
We-
official introduction. Nobody knows who the hell
We're
we are.
keeping it very casual.
Right.
We're letting this podcast free flow,
For sure.
see where these conversations take us.
Yep.
But my name's Ashley.
And my name's Javier Gonzalez.
I'm
And-
Ashley Famey, if you want to know my last
Right,
name.
and we're actually realtors with Remax Advanced Realty currently. Don't say that, because then our broker's going to go crazy if you say currently. That means, oh my God, are you going to be moving?
Currently,
Currently.
we'll get phone calls in
Yeah,
20
exactly
minutes.
right. In about 10 minutes, I'll be getting a phone call. So yeah, so we are in the real estate business, but we want to make sure that our audience and who we speak to knows that what we're really going to try to do is interconnect how public policy affects how our real estate market moves. And most people just do not have a clue as to how that is interwoven, especially in Miami-Dade County, especially in the city of Miami.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, and you have way more experience than I do in the real estate game. And
You just called me old.
no, I didn't.
Yeah, you did.
I didn't use those words.
No, that's what you just called me old. You just said you are old.
Okay, so since you're
Oh,
old,
okay, now that's harsh.
you're well versed in the real estate game.
Oh, okay, that's
you
even-
understand politics
Yes.
more than I do,
Yes.
and I'm learning. I would like to bring clarity to the younger people who don't understand really how a real estate transaction works, and what's your first step, and what should you do, and what shouldn't you do. So I would love to shed light on that area, but it's all connected.
That's why you bought that big key.
Yeah, I bought a big key.
Yeah, so
I
it's
don't
really
have it
kinda-
with me.
We should have brought that in.
It's at home.
It's at home?
It's at my home.
Oh, damn. And it can hang from a door. That was very cool, by the way.
I thought of it when I got home. I said,
was
this
very
is why I did it vertical.
That's very, very cool.
And then the photo I took actually highlighted how bad I actually have to paint my house.
For sure.
It did, right?
For sure.
You look at that photo.
You got primer there, and that's about it. You got to really lay down a coat of paint. So, yeah.
And then also one thing that I've been asked a couple times is just, do we only work in the Grove, Gables, Beach, and Brickell? And that's no. We
No.
work all of Miami.
Anywhere. It's just those were the fancy signs that we had when I originally did our Gotta Have Miami, and we used to have My Magic City. So that's why it's that way. Maybe we'll add a couple more. We'll get somebody to cut 'em out.
Maybe we should do like a poll. Like, what should we add? Well, we'll add one sign.
Goodbye
Could be
me.
like Westchester, Kendall.
Westchester. You got to say it the right
Westchester,
way.
Kendall, Pinecrest.
Pinecrest.
Palmetto
I'm
Bay.
not going to Kendall.
Yeah, he doesn't go to Kendall.
No. I'm not
I'll go
going
to Kendall for select cases.
Yeah, I'm not going to Kendall.
Once
I
you
lived
move-
out there one time, and yeah, I'm not going to Kendall.
Once you move east
Yeah,
to the highway,
once
it's
you
hard
come
to
east
go
of the
back.
highway, it's tough to go back. It is tough. Very
It
tough.
is.
I think we should put Silver Bluff, which is one of my favorite places.
Silver Bluff, up and coming. If you
Yeah.
haven't heard about it, Google it.
Yep. Great place.
I heard a story. I don't know how valid it is, but somebody who lives in Silver Bluff said that they got a knock on their door, and it was a man, not an agent, just a person,
A dude.
and said, "How much would it take for me to buy your house?"
I wouldn't be surprised.
And he said $1 million, and the guy said, "Okay,
Yeah.
consider it done. I'll, let's exchange information. I'll have my attorney contact blah blah blah."
I would not be surprised.
And from what I heard, this is a story from a friend, but it just closed for $985, and this guy bought this house for like $650 last year.
It's nuts. It's crazy. It is a crazy, crazy dynamic market. I thought when we got 725 for one of the deals recently, I thought, wow, and it just keeps climbing. It's not going to slow down. I anticipated a little bit of a slowdown. It's not going to slow down.
I was thinking maybe, especially because new COVID things going on, people becoming cautious again and kind of hunkering down. I don't see that happening.
No, I do not see it. At least in the single family market, there's no way.
Yeah.
And Miami's always had, we had this conversation with somebody recently, Miami's always had an insatiable appetite for real estate as an investment.
Yeah.
The Hispanic community, Cubans in particular, my people, as I like to say, that is one of their investment vehicles. They believe truly in real estate.
No.
And when they go out and buy it, and they hold it. They keep it. They don't trade it. So
Yeah.
it's going to be it'll be a very, very unique 22.
Yeah.
So I got to get to my other podcast.
Wow, like
right.
that.
So so this has been about what, 15 minutes, 20 minutes? Is that good?
We got 11 minutes and 35 seconds.
Really? Oh, that's impressive. You can see that far.
Young eyes.
Very good. Yeah, young eyes right here. Wrong eye, yes. By the way, if you ever see me do this, it means I'm bored.
Good to know.
Just so you know.
So now don't do it in front of clients.
I'm not doing it.
Because now you just gave out your
I gave out. No, this is when I used to sit on boards, and people were yammering. It was like, oh my God, this is done.
Loop-de-loo.
Yeah, loop-de-loop. So that's it.
Well, thanks for joining us on our first podcast.
Right.
I'm going to get it out there on the interwebs.
In the interwebs.
In the
my
interwebs.
favorite place.
And that's it. Once it's in the interwebs,
I know.
it's
And
gone
then we've got to
forever.
make sure that we're looking at the camera. Do we look at each other? Do I look at the raccoon that's over in my yard over there? What do we do?
Whatever you want.
Okay, perfect.
I like the no rules sort of thing.
Do you? Okay.
There's too many rules in life.
There is.
So
that's fine.
we're not going to put rules around the podcast.
No more rules.
Well,
And then we're going to change the picture every once in a while.
Yeah, we'll give you different scenery.
Exactly.
And we do plan on doing different locations.
Right.
So hopefully we can give you guys a cool show some days.
Right. And our audience member is giving us a lot of grief, by the way.
Yeah, we're probably going to cut this off, but thanks for joining.
All right.
And
And
we'll
this
see
is
you guys soon.
the original one, so we'll catch up soon.
The number one.
Number one. See ya.